Call of Duty Zombies has been here from a long time. All the way back from World at War, which released in 2008, and now the upcoming release of Black Ops 6, zombies became a main staple hold in the Call of Duty series, especially for Treyarch, and also two occasional spin-offs from Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer Games. But everyone looks fondly on the classic developers of Zombies, which was Treyarch. Over the time since the World at War release, Zombies have become complicated, with a new storyline, new characters, new gameplay options, and also a bigger budget. But over the course of the years, Zombies have radically changed. Controversial like with Black Ops 4, and some good like with Black Ops 3. Still, nonetheless, Zombies has become an integral part of the Call of Duty series. It is a major thing in the series to have, and especially for Treyarch games and for the rest of the Call of Duty games, since his new take of Zombies is now spanning over 3 games, and now with the upcoming one with the new storyline of the Dark Ether saga. So Zombies became a major deal. But for today's video, I want to look at when Zombies was simple, like very simple, when the time it was starting to be developed for World at War. When Zombies was being developed for World at War, it was a completely far cry from the way it is today. And I'm going to show it to you and talk about it too, and I'm going to show some of the inspirations that led to the creators to create Zombies mode. The way how Zombies complicated is today, well, back in the day it was much simpler. And so let's look back on the development of World at War. But before I get into that, I want to say something else first. In my Black Ops 2 video, I started a sub-goal. The sub-goal was to hit 5k. So when I hit that mark, I'm going to do a Q&A stream, as it will be my first stream for this channel. Well, I think I want to hit it around towards the end of August, so practically in 2 months. I would prefer if I hit it earlier. Right now I'm sitting at 2k subscribers, so I would appreciate any new viewers or any returning viewers who subscribe right now, and to check out my other stuff too. But with that out of the way, let's go back into the video. Now, 2 people came up with the original idea of Zombies. One was from Jesse Snyder, and the other one Jason McCord. These 2 people came up with the idea with Zombies, as they wanted to make an extra mode for World at War. Just like with COD 4, the first Modern Warfare game, towards the end of the game you get to play the badass mission Mile High Club. And they wanted to do something similar to that, because in order to unlock Mile High Club you had to beat the game first. So they wanted that for Call of Duty World at War when they were in the early developments of it. And so many ideas ran around. First idea before the Zombies idea came up was to do a D-Day perspective, but on the German side. Again, this was supposed to happen towards the end of the credits when you beat the game. As for this idea, you play as the perspective from a German soldier and while you're gunning down Americans. But over time, the invasion intensifies, and while you lose, and while the American soldiers kill you. And it turns ends the whole game. Both liked the idea, but they were unsure to put it in the game because there might be a lot of players' resistance of playing the German, since towards the end of the game you get killed. It was put up on the cutting block, but they liked that it would be a cool interactive ending and a cool cinematic. It says that it will never fit with the game. Remember, this was early in development, so they were just probably planning out the phases of what to do. But later on development, when they were working on Little Resistance, the campaign level in the second mission of World at War, doing some work on the AI level. Well, I'll show you what they were working on, because this is where they got their main inspiration for Zombies. This is where it mainly started from. The whole zombie franchise has started from this one little small thing. For this mission, for the first beginning parts, you're given an order to use a rocket strike on the enemy. Mess with the Japanese defenders in order to have an opening to it. Well, right after the rocket strike, you see that the soldiers are dazed. And when they were working on the animations for this level for the soldiers, many people around the office said that they look like zombies. This little mention kept inside in their heads. Again, time passes. But one of the producers for the game commented about that they still want to do extra content for World at War, but they were not sure what they were going to do. For Jesse Snyder, he was still keen on the idea of being overrun, and we had nothing to do. We were not able to win. He was dead set on this concept, because he felt like in every Call of Duty game you felt invincible. There was nothing that can stop you. Even when the moments get really heated, you're still invincible no matter what. And this was the early days of COD, as you were basically a one-man army. Jesse Snyder praised what Infinity Ward did for Modern Warfare. As you remember, you get killed by Bashar al-Assad for that one mission, and the famous scene, the nuke scene. Felt like these 2 moments broke the invincibleness in Call of Duty, so he took inspirations from it. And so he asked the producer if he knew about tower defense games. This was another big moment that inspired COD Zombies in back in the day. Remember, or well, most of the millennials might remember, but this was around the time when Flash games were really popular. Many Flash games were tower defense games. I remember playing some of the Flash games, but I don't remember all of them at all. Jesse Snyder wanted to do something similar to that, a tower defense style type of mode. Well, this Flash game heavily inspired Call of Duty Zombies. And well, you're going to be surprised on what Flash game inspired it. Jesse Snyder was talking to one of the designers, Sean Slayback, some of the Flash games that were tower defense. And Sean mentioned one Flash game, The Last Stand. The Last Stand was a zombie tower defense game. And well, it's pretty similar to COD Zombies. There are zombies running towards a barricade, and well, you gotta defend yourselves against them. And in this Flash game, towards the end of the round, you get opportunities to get more weapons or more survivors, or to fix the barricades. Jesse Snyder had a massive idea what it can do, is it will fit the World at War setting. Well, I can't say the thing because I think that word is kind of banned on YouTube or it's demonetized. I'm not really sure yet, but I'm not gonna risk it. But it's the German party that ran during World War II, and well, the end of it is called zombies. Jesse Snyder had a massive idea of what he can do, as he wanted to make a 3D version basically of The Last Stand, as more taking inspirations from it. He felt like it would be more intensive in first person perspective. Well, he changed a few little things, that what happens if you could find weapons and you could buy them too in the same area. And also too that you can open up the map and it will be fully 4-player co-op. And he really wanted to make it interactive. Well, the resources were already there. They already had zombie-like animations coded by him that the engine of the game could support this mode. He already had ideas of how he could implement it. So he told the idea to the producer. As he pitched the idea to the producer didn't really like it. He said it would be a massive risk and it wouldn't fit in the game whatsoever. Plus two, he called it really campy. But when Jesse Snyder talked about it to his other co-workers, they really liked the idea. This idea was basically put in a filing cabinet, as well as the producer wasn't really sold on it, no matter how much he told him. The producer was down for a tower defense game. He told him and the rest of the team to make this type of mode, as it's basically Spec Ops. Well, the early version of Spec Ops, but just think about it for World at War. So they labeled this prototype mode as Bunker Defense. And like I said, it was just basically Modern Warfare 3 Spec Ops, but just World War II version. To Jesse Snyder, he felt that this mode was bland because it played it too safe. To him too, that it missed all the fundamentals what makes a good tower defense game, coded by him. Well, as they work on this prototype, he kept thinking about he should do his idea of zombies. The people around him said it was too risky and it was too much work. And well, another couple months passed and he did something that would have got him fired, but he got really lucky. He decided to do the prototype on his own. Now, he didn't get any permission to do this. He did it on his own, basically on company time. That was a massive gambit to do. Well, he made this prototype without any permission over the weekend. And this prototype had the original core fundamentals of Call of Duty Zombies. Of course, it was still kind of primitive as it didn't fully have the full all core fundamentals of it. It did have most of the things, as you could buy weapons off the wall, you could repair barricades, it had the zombies' iconic animations, and that you could buy areas around the map to open them up more. And also too, you could further progress throughout the rounds. This was the first prototype of Call of Duty Zombies, and so he showed off the prototype to other team members. And again, he was very lucky. Many people saw the potential it could have. This early prototype of Call of Duty Zombies became an instant hit in the office. And all the stuff I'm telling you is from the original creator's perspective, Jesse Snyder, as he had a blog post of what he did during the early developments of Call of Duty Zombies, as he's the one that first started the whole thing. Remember, this was just the first prototype, where half the animations weren't even done and half the stuff was even scripted. But people saw the potential in it. But of course, it still needed to go to the higher ups to get approved, because he did this on his off time, so he could get into a lot of trouble. Now I'm going to be talking about Mark Lamo, as he was the studio head of Treyarch during this time. In 2015 in the DICE Summit, he talked about how COD Zombies came to be and were the origins of it. He did explain in the summit that World at War had a tough development time, as they were basically on crunch time and they needed to get the game done. The Zombies prototype came into late in development, practically near the end when the game was about to be done. They still mainly needed to focus on the other thing first, like completely scripting for multiplayer and the campaign too. But he was hesitant about it, because they were behind schedule and that Zombies wasn't going to be a good fitting image for Call of Duty. Since it came into late in development, it would have looked bad on them. Remember, this was the first time Treyarch was starting to make a name for themselves in Activision. This is their second Call of Duty game they made. The first one was Call of Duty 3 and that one didn't do as good. But once he was shown the prototype, he was thinking of canceling it altogether. At this time, he didn't play it, but he didn't can the project. He said that if he canned the project, it would have been the biggest mistake in his career. And so he played the prototype, and he loved it. And he played it again and again, and well, he loved the mode. He said that this new mode was addictive and kept having replayability. And so he showed off to Activision, and they said, well, there's no official thing what they said, but I'm pretty sure they went along with this. Alright, you guys go work on this. I think they probably didn't care, as like, they were probably going to take the risk because this was the time when zombies were going to be very popular. I'm talking about the genre, not just called zombies. The whole zombies genre blew up in the 2000s and 2010s, early 2010s, because in the late 2010s it started to die down. So there was a massive zombie craze. I think Activision wanted to take part of it, but they were going to play it safe, so they just let these guys do it. Since World at War was going to be the last World War II game, since it was going to go full on modern for the next series. So why not just take the risk, and they're not going to lose that much anyways. So they let Treyarch do whatever they want. Of course, not without limitations, as this whole mode would not be marketed. But enough about the DICE Summit, I'm going to talk about the blog post again with Jesse Snyder. The creative director heard about it and he told Jesse Snyder to keep working on it and improve it. Of course, during this time, they were still working on the bunker defense mode, but this mode started to die down and will merge with COD Zombies. They used some of the reused assets from that mode and put it into Zombies. So COD Zombies was now the full focus now. It then became the main focus as they needed to wrap up the other things first. Jesse Snyder and Austin Cross began to work on COD Zombies, that they had to do in their spare time. And so they were going to move on to the prototype and trying to make a final product of it. And this is where the major stuff came in. Because back in the day, they were planning to put that you were supposed to buy back barriers. As you know in the mode, the zombies take down the barriers and you can repair them. But back in the day, they wanted you to do so that you could buy them individually. Of course, this changed and became, though, you repair the barriers just by holding the X button or whatever button what console you're on. Also too, they got their lead animator for War at War to help with their animations of it. The lead animator was excited for this, and so Jesse Snyder gave him a list of animations of what he wanted to do, and also too, since War at War was using mocap, they were going to use that to their advantage. But also too, during the mocap sessions, they got really lucky because one of the actors played a zombie in Universal City Walk, so they got the best zombie animations they could get. Took it to another whole level, and then the artist started to help them out too, making it more full-fledged. This artist, his name is Cameron Petty, gave them the iconic appearance. Glowing eyes. This artist is the main person that came up with it. And with some of the models, they started to change them around, make them more zombified look, putting more detail into them. Also too, giving a gore system to the zombies. As you remember, you could shoot off their heads? Well, you know when they run around for a little bit? Well, they did this intentionally because it was a bug they had back in the day, as a zombie would keep living for a run, but they modify it and they just kept it in so the zombie dies after a few seconds with its missing head gone. Now, some players hate when that happens because sometimes the zombie's still alive and kills you, but they intentionally did this because they wanted to keep it more detailed into the game. In fact, for the jibbing system, they completely revamped it just for zombies, because they added more parts that you could blow off of. So their iconic gore system came with COD Zombies. Now we get the first map ever in Zombies history. Not an official map, it was just for the second prototype, as this map was a small house. Actually, it's for the first prototype when he made it on his own. This small house used a lot of elements or reused assets from the Russian campaign, and, well, made it into like that, into a small little Russian house and you defend yourself against zombies. But this was the first prototype. The first official Zombies map came into existence into the second prototype. As one of the lead multiplayer designers, he used one of the maps from the Pacific campaign, from the Japanese, one of the bunkers, which you can see in the third campaign level, and he heavily modified the bunker into the first Zombies level ever, Nocturne on Toten. And after this map was completed, officially started the second prototype, officially finished, and it was almost basically done. This was the first full-fledged Zombies mode ever. Also remember too, they had to use a lot of reused assets, they didn't have a lot of time, nor they were on a tight schedule to release the game too. And they could only work it on the weekends, that was it. They were on crunch time. But still, they were heavily motivated to work on this new mode. Before they can finish the thing, they still wanted to add one more new thing, something to help with the randomness. And this first item was called the Magic Chest. Jesse Snyder called it the Mario Kart box, due to how random it is as it gives you weapons. And he wanted this because it kept the gameplay interesting and, well, replayability all the way. He knew people were gonna like this box, so they just kept it along the way. You already know what I'm talking about, it's the first incarnation of the mystery box. The two little thing they added the chalk outlines on the weapons. Another iconic thing in Zombies is that when you buy the weapon, or when you're about to buy the weapon, it's just the outline of the chalk. But when you buy it, you get the full weapon comes out of the wall. So they added that on there because the guy wanted it there from the beginning. He got inspired from the Hitman series, and that's where we have the iconic chalk outlines. So the prototype was almost done, but it was like practically 90% done. It had full rounds, zombie animations, you could buy stuff around the map, you could rebuild barriers, and almost completed the map, and lighting too. And also too, they did the intro for it too. I have it playing in the background because in the original files, if you look at World of War on the PC, this is prototype, the video file, which is funny because they still kept it on to the end of the release, and still, this is the intro screen for COD Zombies, as it's still called the same thing, prototype. And as it was nearly done, they began to play test the whole game. When they played it, they found it really unbalanced, but this was the first time creating it, so there was gonna bound to happen. Also too, it was really buggy, so they kept on working on it to make it more fixed. But they only had time to work on the weekends. This was the only time they could work on it. And many months passed, and this mode altogether was about to be cancelled. Since the main game required so much attention, they couldn't even get time to work on this. And that there was not many people working on this mode. And even Austin was pulled off the project to work on something else. Jason Snyder thought the mode was going to be cancelled altogether, cut to the shelves. Remember with the Mark Lamieux what he said? Apparently the upper management heard about it and they gave him the full-fledged to work on it again. So bringing back the mode back from the dead, quoted by Jesse Snyder as he laughs about it too. His mode was exactly called, well, you know, the German party that ran in World War II, Zombies. That was the first official name. And they were going to fix the bugs and everything else. The lead scripter began to work on it, Mike Denny. And they got a ton of people to work on it. Jimmy and another animator, Philip Lorenzo, moved the project and they kept playing the hell out of the game to see which works and which doesn't with the balancing issue. They wanted to make sure this game was played right, so they put a lot of passion into this. This is funny, this is where the advanced rounds came in. In the early prototype, they could make it to level 35 easily. They wanted 10 to be the last part, but then they wanted to make 20 to be the last part too. Of course, they balance it out that with each round it gets more harder and harder. And so 2 weeks before the game was about to be submitted for the publisher for Activision, Jesse Snyder still wanted to add one more thing: power-ups. Many people were against it in the office. They heavily advised him not to do it because it felt like it would kill the whole point of the mode, but he didn't care and he just went with his gut and he made it all together. These are the first original power drops: insta-kill, double points, max ammo, and the nuke. Of course, during the prototype phase, they didn't have their iconic models. Double points was just a tea kettle, insta-kill was just a crow model, max ammo was just a rat, and well, the nuke, well, it was just a bomb. Well, basically the nuke. When they implemented into the game, many people hated it. Because like I said earlier, because they thought it killed the whole fun of it. They really thought the mode was just survival horror, but it wasn't. Jesse Snyder, this is important, because later down the line, Zombies completely forgot this whole factor for it. He wanted the original Zombies mode just to be arcade fun. He never wanted to make a survival horror aspect or whatever happened in the future after he left. He just wanted to be a simple, arcadey, fun type of mode. He envisioned the mode that he wanted friends to play with it and see how long they could hold out. Also too, to keep that horror feel into it too. Because remember, World at War was one of the most terrifying zombies ever. Also too, I made a video on it, so there's a shameless plug for that too. But don't worry, in the future I'm going to remake that video. But anyways, he just wanted to have it arcadey fun. He wanted to have the horror elements just as a free little thing on there, so he kept it on there. This is the part where it gets really funny, because it correlates with a lot of fans to this day. When the final product of COD Zombies was playing around in the office, many of the people were having a blast with it. Yelling people to get the power-ups, which is funny because we do the same with our friends when we play the game. Talking trash to how far you made it along, like if you made it to round 20, they kept discussing about this in the office. And also too, what strategies you could do to get higher into the rounds. So it became a huge thing in the office. And Jesse Snyder too even pointed out that many people in the office loved the ray gun. The ray gun was a fun project to do. As Max Porter, who did the weapon artist, he just made it on the side just for fun. It was just a side project for himself, so he made it on his own time. Max Porter sold Jesse Snyder for the ray gun, and well, Jesse Snyder liked it, so he got a bunch of team members to work on the gun to make it a full model and put sounds and particles for it. He said that this weapon was the ultimate weapon back in the day, which was true, because back in the day, the ray gun was the only wonder weapon. Once again, the ray gun became an instant hit. I find this really funny because this will actually happen when the game was released. What they fell in the office became a global thing. It became a major staple for the Treyarch development and Call of Duty altogether, as it's basically a third popular mode. A lot of passion was put into the original prototype and it shows. You can still feel it with World at War, as I compare it to the much modern Zombies experience, which doesn't feel like has that passion altogether. Maybe Black Ops 6 will be different. Even too, I like how that even people in the office will even compare what levels they made it to. It's funny because a lot of people did this too with the leaderboards and everything. Zombies finally finished and we were able to play the game. And then so, well, they fixed up the game and fixed up the mode and we got what we want with Nocturne Until Dawn, the first Zombies map and the first Zombies experience. One little last thing before I end the video, because this was a major step that led to the success of Zombies. They made sure they wanted to make it unlockable. As the studio had said before, they didn't have any advertisement to advertise the game. Not the game, but they couldn't advertise the mode altogether. They only did it afterwards when the game was released. Even though this mode came with a $60 package. It was not advertised at all because people thought Activision thought they were jumping the shark and it was a little bit too far. So they had to do it on their own, so they left it to be an unlockable thing. Because when you beat the campaign, you finally unlock the mode. Towards the post credits, you get the first cutscene of Call of Duty Zombies. I think, in my opinion, and also to some of the opinions from some of the developers, this moment led to the success of Call of Duty Zombies as it became a fun thing to share around. Ever since the release of Nocturne Until Dawn, as well the rest is history, as Call of Duty Zombies is still here today and needs another resurgence. That's how Call of Duty Zombies came to be. A simple design, a lot of passion, and a lot of luck led to this great mode. We can thank Jesse Snyder and his team for making this mode, as he wanted to make it fun for many others too. Just like them. The massive amount of passion put into this mode can be seen to this day still. Once again, thanks to them, we have such an amazing mode that we all have memories about it. These memories are going to keep going on forever, and new players will get the same feeling as they did when they played these games. And so, that's how Call of Duty Zombies came to be. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you. It was a lot of fun to do research on how Call of Duty Zombies came to be. so simple and it had so much passion into it and became a huge thing. Isn't it weird that if you put a lot of passion into a game, it gets really good success off of it? I don't know why modern games are not doing that, but thank God that this wasn't like this back in the day. Or else we wouldn't have this mode altogether, but also too you can thank for the environment during that time, because this was around the time the huge zombies crave started to blow up, so they got really lucky. But I think that's enough of me talking for today. Before you guys go, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. It's hard to get used to that. I'm not used to saying that. I used to say it before my older videos, but I dropped it. But ever since I gained a lot of subscribers, I want to hit that goal of hitting 5K to do the Q&A stream. I'm still having to get used to this, so don't forget to subscribe. Anyways, hope you guys have a nice day. This is Mazer Argo signing out.